On August 27th, Robin Westman, a transgender and a former student, carried out a deadly school shooting at Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis during its first Mass of the year, targeting children in what authorities described as a premeditated attack. 2 children, including 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel, were killed where they sat in church pews. Another 18 people, including 14 students, were injured, some critically, during the mass attack. Robin Westman carefully chose August 27th for the attack, targeting the first Mass when students would be alone, as per reports. Westman's diary, partly coded in Russian Cyrillic, reportedly detailed his plan to kill as many children as possible. He reportedly conducted trial runs, noting school schedules and entry points to avoid being seen before the attack. Entries show he planned his movements down specific hallways, south foyer doors, and parking spots in advance, reports claim. Westman posted parts of his twisted diary on YouTube days before the shooting, revealing meticulous planning. His writings and online posts also revealed personal struggles, as he expressed regret over transitioning and a desire to undo what he described as having brainwashed himself, and officials later confirmed he legally changed his name from Robert to Robin at age 17 to reflect his female identity. According to police, Westman, armed with multiple legally purchased guns, carried out a premeditated assault. The shooter targeted Annunciation Catholic School, which he attended as a child, and a church he knew well. In the wake of the school shooting, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. announced a probe by the National Institutes of Health to determine whether drugs Westman was taking during his transition could have played a role in his depraved violence. While lawmakers in Minnesota are reconsidering the state's 2023 trans refugee law, which protects out-of-state individuals seeking gender treatments from extradition or legal actions. Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson described Westman as appearing to harbor deep hatred for others, emphasizing that the shooter's intent was to inflict suffering on children, and investigators continue to piece together the meticulously planned movements that led to the massacre.
I certainly consider mass shootings a health crisis, and we are doing for the first time real studies to find out what the etiology of that is. And we're looking for the first time at psychiatric drugs. You know, these kind of mass shooting, people have had guns in this country forever. When I was a kid, we had shooting clubs at our school. People, kids, my classmates, other people, would bring a .22 rifle with their guns to school and park it in the parking lot. Nobody was shooting. So there's never been a time in America, in the history of humanity, and people walked into a crowd, into a church or a movie theater or a school or a crowd of strangers and just started randomly shooting. It's happening in our country. It's not happening around the world. And there are many other countries that have comparable levels of guns that we have in this country. We had comparable levels in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and people weren't doing that. Something changed, and it dramatically changed human behavior. And one of the culprits we need to examine is whether the fact that we are the most over-medicated nation in the world, and that a lot of those are psychiatric drugs that have black box warnings on them that warn of suicidal and homicidal ideation. So we are doing those studies right now for the first time, and we will have an answer.
You cannot put into words the gravity, the tragedy, or the absolute pain of this situation. We are a Minneapolis family. But to everybody out there, do not think of these as just somebody else's kids. Those families are suffering immense pain right now. Think of this as if it were your own. Every one of us needs to be wrapping our arms around these families, giving them every ounce that we can muster. These were Minneapolis families These were American families. And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary. And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance. These are the sort of basic assurances that every family should have, every step of the day, regardless of where they are in our country. I'm so deeply saddened, and I'm so sorry to the families that I know are suffering right now. My ask is to everyone, stand by them. Love them. These families have forever been changed, and we've all been changed with them. We need to do everything possible to support them through this time. We have a family resource center that has been set up. I'm grateful for all of the law enforcement agencies from a number of different jurisdictions, all the different departmental support that we've received. They're going to be working tirelessly. There's also a family resource center that is being set up as we speak to make sure that we're there for everybody. Again, to the families that are suffering, to those that have experienced loss, I'm so deeply sorry. We're going to be with you every step of the way. We love you. This kind of act of evil should never happen, and it happens far too often. The chief will provide additional details.
My name is Brian O'Hara, B-R-I-A-N, O''H-A-R-A. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. Earlier today, just before 8:30 a.m., our city experienced an unthinkable tragedy. Minneapolis police officers responded to a report of a shooting at a mass that was happening at the Annunciation Roman Catholic Church on the block behind me. This worship service was marking the first week of school for children that are attending the Annunciation Catholic School. During the Mass, a gunman approached on the outside, on the side of the building, and began firing a rifle through the church windows towards the children sitting in the pews at the Mass. Shooting through the windows, he struck children and worshipers that were inside the building. The shooter was armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. This was a deliberate act of violence against innocent children and other people worshiping. The sheer cruelty and cowardice of firing into a church full of children is absolutely incomprehensible. Police officers from the Minneapolis Police Department immediately responded, entered the church, and attempted to provide first aid and rescue some of the children that were hiding throughout the building, while other first responders came and EMS responded to rush victims to nearby hospitals. 2 young children, ages 8 and 10, were killed where they sat in the pews. Their parents have been notified. 17 other people were injured, 14 of them being children. 2 of those children are in critical condition. The coward who fired these shots ultimately took his own life in the rear of the church. Our hearts are broken for the families who have lost their children, for these young lives that are now fighting to recover, and for our entire community that has been so deeply traumatized by this senseless attack. We will stand together to protect our children, our schools, and our houses of worship. This deliberate act of violence is just a sign of cruelty that is beyond comprehension. Our hearts are broken for everyone that's been affected by this tragedy. As we begin the difficult path of healing, I want the community to know this, that even in the face of such evil, the Minneapolis Police Department and all of our law enforcement partners stand with our community.